Hello, how to make watch list for swing trading. We went through the process by using a maximum monthly chart to analyze some stocks and find the stocks we are going to have on our watch list. We use a daily chart to to test them as well, to make sure the price at the beginning of the year is lower than the price at the end of the year. Now the third step is to trace our trend lines to find the entry point. This video is to trace our support line. So how do we trace our support line to find our entry point to know where we will enter our swing trades? So it is in the process of for our new stock watch list, and I believe we ended on ICE. No, we didn't end it on ICE. I will assume we ended on PWR. So I'm going to try PWR, and we trace the one that we like to trade it on, and we color it in purple. And we are using, this one is maximum monthly. We'll be using maximum monthly and maximum daily chart. So I'm going to go back, and DOV is the next one. So let me make this a little bit smaller. DOV. So DOV, we make sure we have, here is the drawing. So drawing tools. Once you click on it and you are using it, it will be at the bottom, and we are using a Thinkorswim. If you have an account with Charles Schwab, you'll be able to use Thinkorswim. It is free if you have Charles Schwab account. So, and I like to use this to trace my support line, and the arrow to put where I purchased or where I sold. So on the maximum monthly chart, I like to see some lines that I can trace touching obvious lows. So I like to touch the first two that I can see, but keep in mind that they is going through this quite a bit. I'm not a fan of that. Keep in mind that it is a zone. It's not just a line, but I like to get it close to the lows, and I'm targeting this one and this one. But on the maximum monthly chart, you want to target the obvious lows that you can see. And from probably, let's not touch that one, but this green one, and see if we can get closer. It is not too far from this one, therefore I'll work with that one. So now I'll go to maximum daily chart to see. Okay, I can see the line, and here it is now close to those, but again, as a zone, that'll be good enough. It's touching some line there, and that is why. So from here, if I still want to trace that line, I can now, let's see how it's not going to. But I will now want to trace, let's do this one here. You see, it is not too far from here. So I will just say it's more like a zone type things, and I would prefer to fact, I can just trace it, but this will be our entry point. It is a long-term trend line, and that is that. And when you are tracing your support line, again, the strategy you are using to swing trade could affect your entry point. And for this purpose though, we are using uptrend line swing trading strategy, but more specifically we want to trade on a long uptrend line. With that on in mind, we are trying to locate the trend line that will be our entry point. It's not going to be exactly on that line, but around that line. So the line will be waiting. So when we analyze the stocks, we will be comparing where the price is to where our line that we color is. That way we are not going to be dwelling on what the stock is doing at any specific day of the year necessarily, but we will compare it to where we want to buy. When it's not there, there is no point of waiting, like trying to see what's going on there or anything like that. We just move to the next. So we might buy less ADP, but that is something we like to give it a try and see how it works, because in 2024 we traded often aiming small profits and allocating a small dollar amount to our per trade and follow the trend and trade on a short trend line. But this time, we use the same uptrend line swing trading strategy, but this time we like to trade on a longer trend line. So here I'm tracing those, and the reason why I'm posing is because I have those highs that are higher than the future, the following year that follow it. So for that reason, I'm wondering if this will be the line I like to follow, or if this will be the line. That way I don't get stranded somewhere there if you're trying to repeat that process again. But this it did that here as well, when it went up and then the future year it went down. At this point I'm going to color both lines. And then we'll go to maximum daily chart and to see if we got close, because on the maximum daily chart you may not be close to the low well the way you want it, and you can do that on a maximum daily chart where you can see better. Okay, so yeah, we can either get in there or get here. Again, they are not too far from each other, so that's a good thing. But here is where we want to. On a shorter line, do you see how I traced those shorter lines? You could technically trade on those and trade successfully on those, but we are not going to do that. And I'm not even going to try to see if it's falling off of a trend line there or not, because I will have a lot of stocks on my watch list to analyze on a daily basis, and I'm taking you along to show you how I'm going to be doing it. I'm not going to be saying, okay, the trend line is following, is it ending, and things like that. I'm not going to do that because I'm not trading on a short trend line. if I was trading on a short trend line, then this will be the line, and then I will say, okay, so since this low is lower than, no, it's not even lower, but yeah, it's not even lower. So technically the way I like to do it is trying to, from, let me zoom a little bit for you to see. But you know, I will trace, and usually because I'm connecting two lows, I will start from there and I will try to connect that low, assuming, you know, we are trading, and then I will buy it there and sell it somewhere there. So buy on the same side of the swing and sell it on the same side of the swing. So, and but then it continues, you know, and then I'll just continue tracing. If a short trend line ended, once I have a confirmation on another one, I have a low here and I have a low here, I will be able to trace again, and then I'll be able to trade. But again, that one ended, and so forth. So, and I just traded a long, but and here, based on that, is that trend is ending, and the confirmation is this low is higher than this low. So therefore I will need to wait for the confirmation here, or finding another pullback before I get in. Again, those red are pullbacks. The price went down that day. Every single bar here on this is a daily bar, a daily price bar representing a daily fluctuation. So a red bar is the price went down that day. The price closed at an amount lower than the price at the beginning of the day. The green is the price at the beginning of the day was lower than the price at the end of the day for that particular stock. So, and I take that into consideration, but I'm not going to be worrying about those things. I'll just compare where the price is compared to where my line is. When it's close to my line is when I'll pay close attention to it. That is the goal going forward. Now, what I was showing you earlier, that's what I did in 2024 by trading on short trend lines, but using the same trading strategy. Now I like to use that same trading strategy on a longer trend line and see how I feel about both. So this one will go to maximum monthly chart, and then I will do this. This will work too. Let's do that. Let me see what I'm going to touch the lowest one. It's close to this that I don't think it matters. And from here, there, I'm not going to do that. It'll be like following it up there, and I don't want to do that. So the line you will buy on is going to be this line, not even that one. So I'm going to go to, in fact, I don't even need to go to maximum daily chart. This is the line. So, but it has not touched it in any current year though, and this one is touching those two. But again, it's more like a zone there. I'm going to hold on to this one. That's what I'm going to be using. I can highlight the other one too, but we'll see. ADI. So ADI, let's see what we can trace here. That is a long-term trend line in the sense that it came from multiple years here. This is quite low here. Maybe I should ignore that one and start with this one instead. I think this one is a good one as well. And that will be the line we will buy on. So, and here I'm not seeing, but shortly here, but And in general, the highs are higher than the previous one for every year. So that's what I would prefer to see. Now, one of them that earlier it was a year was lower than the previous year high. Those technically are something that it just what I'm talking about. You know, those highs here are lower than this high is something I'm not a big fan of. So for this, for instance, I had to be very careful how we are trading it. And I will go with the lowest point that I can get, and that will be this line. That's what I will trade it on, so that I do not follow it. You see the way this year is that high, and then the following year it stay on the low side, the way it repeated here 2 years in a row before it was able to surpass this high. I do not want to have to buy it and then have to wait 2 years. Although I have some like that already in my portfolio, but I just prefer to just wait how long it will take for that to come to this line before we get in. So I don't need to go to let's see if we'll be able to see this line on a daily chart. Yeah, we will see it, and that is the line that I'm going to trade it on. And now from here I can actually activate it and lower it some more, so that I'm right at the bottom of those there. Okay, so now let's go back to our maximum monthly and CRM. That will be the line, the long trend line. I could do this, but it could be a little risky in the sense that this year, most of the year, it was below this high here. Therefore, I just prefer to wait on this line. And I don't know when it will come back to that, but this is literally risky to me to do that. So the next one is TYL. So TYL, we have that same situation, and the reason why we have that could be has something to do with 2020 as well. So that's, even if it's possible, I would prefer to ignore those growth there. That's one way too. Let's see. This is the line. And again, you could trace this for a shorter one as well. Is 2-year trend line, 2022, 2024, those better years. But no, when it goes that high, it fall back down here, and it's higher this time after a year. I don't know if it's going to fall back to here before going off again. So I just prefer to wait on this here. So the next one is ECL. So ECL, let's start from here and see where we'll be able to go. If I do this, it will end somewhere there. And then I'll have this one. I just prefer to go this route. And that is just my way of tracing those lines. So I'm connecting those two lows here and just continue it. And I prefer to go that route instead of going this way. It will end it somewhere here, and then I'll trace this one. And I don't want to trace this because it will be more following the current trend, and I don't want to do that. It's coming close. If I use this line as a zone, it's coming periodically to this line. I prefer to wait on that line, to wait at that line, and use it as the value to enter. Okay. So CBRE again during 2021 was higher for 3 years before, or 2 years before it went up. So keeping that in mind, let's see if we'll be able to, yeah, I like this line. It touched quite a bit of lows. I like that, and that is the line. How long is going to take for that to come back to this line? I'm not sure. But if I will buy these stocks, I would prefer to wait on that line. Now, this one. And although this is a long-term trend line as well, it could work. I just don't want to find myself in that situation. You know, when in fact is common things for this stock. No, I couldn't say that. But when we have this growth here, the following year was lower. Again, when we have this growth here, the following year was lower. So it's a common thing for this stock to have that growth and fall off of it for a while. Do you see it? It took 2 years. Those are year. It took 2 years before, you see when I put my mouse here, it took a half of this year to go down, and then it took those 2 years for that to go up. This is when it went higher. So if you get in, let's say at the wrong spot, let's say at the peak here, and you do not set a stop loss to set it at a loss, and you just have it in your portfolio, it will take you about 2-3 years before it will be showing positive in your account. So for that reason, if I will buy it, I would prefer to buy it on this line so that I can buy it at the lowest point possible. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's go to the next one. So that could mean it might take a while for that to go there. Like when I say a while, I'm talking about years too. Thankfully, it's not the only one in our portfolio. Otherwise, we need to add more to our portfolio if all of them are like that. But again, now we have this situation here. I like this line. I don't know when the line is long like that and touch multiple lows. I find that support line to be a line that the stock is respecting, is coming to rest and then take off again. Therefore, that is the line that I like to follow. And we trace it since 2012 here. So you see it touch it quite a bit, and I prefer to go with that. Another line could be this one as well, but I'm not going to do that. I just prefer to be here. And because I find those clean lines on the maximum monthly chart, I don't need to go to the maximum daily chart to check the line there. There is no need. But we trade on a daily chart. So maximum daily chart will be where we will be doing our chart analysis. But I like to start tracing my support line on a maximum monthly chart where I can see multiple years in front of me and see the overall trend and work from there. So this is a little bit stagnant here, multiple years before it start going there. So in fact, I like to activate this and bring it down a little bit. because since I'm not zoom in, I'm not seeing the bottom well for those. But yeah, that could be a line. This could be a line as well. Seems to me that this stock, even if you decided to trade on a horizontal line, that will be fine too. I don't know if it's going to come back to that line or not, but that will be one to be, because the gap between the two is quite wide. It'll be good to keep those two lines in mind. If anything, I don't like horizontal type of. Our strategy is uptrend line, swing trading strategy. So trading it on an horizontal line, you just have to make sure it's still uptrending though. We do not want that to just be stagnant like that. But stagnant like this, well, you have a line to buy it at and a line to sell it at as well. But yeah, I don't know about this stuff, but is moving down quite a bit here. So let's decide where we want to. That is IRM. Now let's do SO. So SO, let's see. I like this line. It crossed the other one a little bit, but it touched base with a lot of them. So I like that line. Touch this one here, but that's fine. So from here, let's see if you'll be able to trace some more. Not really. Do you see? It's not too far from this line. So that is the line. I mean, you could try to trace from here, but I'm not going to do that. It touched base with this quite a bit. Not in recent years though. But again, having those higher than the following year, this one higher than those following year, I prefer to wait on this line. So those stocks that I had to say that the stocks in our watch list for 2024 are the best from our long list, because those new stocks that we pull from that list, few are very good, some are questionable in my opinion based on the strategy that I'm using. So, and thankfully the stocks from our watch list, our existing watch list, a lot of them made it to our new watch list as well. 33, half of, no, 45 or 46 made it. To our new watch list. So those are the two lines, and I could continue. Let's see if I put it there, and this one will be going here. It is a long-term trend line as well, but my concern is those high. This high is higher, but again it is these bar lows that I'm touching here, and in the following years it came to this line more than it came back to this one. Therefore we could, so you can see it's not really a sell rule here. I'm considering a lot of things here. How often it's coming back to the line that I like to buy at in the recent years. You can see that this one, it didn't come to it. This one, it didn't come to it multiple years. and this one it touched base with multiple years as well. So we could, I don't know, we could buy it at this line. You will buy it at this time. So, but yeah, is it the last one? Yeah, it is the last one. And those lines are not set on stone. You know, as we progress through the year, based on how the chart is acting up, we can trace a shorter lines to work with as well, as long as it's older than 1 year line, even 2 years. Let's go back to SO for instance. It touched base with this multiple times. That's great. Then actively we could trace this line here that it touched base more often with the recent years, and use that as well, because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 years trend line. And but the thing is, you see here, when it went up, it did came back after multiple years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years before it came back here, and it touched base with it here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe 3 years later it could pull back to it. So, but you could still make money along the way as well if you are careful. I don't know which one I counted, but yeah. And within here you can even see a smaller trend line as well that you could have traded along, but yeah, you may not know when it's going to fall back though and go from there and so forth. But yeah, we could technically trade it on this line. In fact, I could even move it down a little bit here, but I don't want to do that because it's going to make it sharper here, and I don't want that to be sharper here, like following it there, but just make it a little bit more on the conservative side. But yeah, we could actually come back and trace those lines as well, and trying to enter at those lines to see how they behave, but not forgetting that there is a line below that it could revert to as well. But yeah, this concludes how we trace our support lines to estimate our entry points to those swing trades. Thank you. And this is the stock watch list. There are two that we are going to combine to have our stock watch list for the new year 2025, and we'll be analyzing them very quickly, and we'll see if you'll be able to go through the whole list every day. Thank you. We thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much for all your comments, and we thank you very much you all that subscribe to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and inastop.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And swing trading is one way to make money. Thank you. For more of our swing trading videos, will you please check the playlist in the description titled Swing Trading. it will be at the end of the video on the screen as well. Thank you.